Admiral Jake Collins stood at the command center of Earth's main space station. His weathered face showed years of worry and hard decisions. Outside the thick windows, he could see Earth's blue surface far below. Today might be the last time he would see his home planet peaceful. The message had arrived 3 hours ago. The Zorvak Empire wanted Earth to surrender all military ships and weapons. They gave humanity 1 week to decide. If Earth refused, the Empire would destroy every human city from space. "Sir, the Coalition representatives are here," said Captain Lisa Morgan. She walked into the room with quick, nervous steps. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, and her uniform was perfect as always. But Collins could see the fear in her eyes. "Send them in," Collins said. He had been expecting this visit. 3 alien beings entered the command center. The first was tall and thin with blue skin. The second looked like a giant insect with 4 arms. The third was short and covered in thick fur. They represented the 3 strongest species in the Galactic Coalition. "Admiral Collins, the blue," aliens spoke in perfect English. "We have discussed Earth's situation. The Zorvak Empire has 200 warships coming to your solar system. Earth has only 30 ships. You cannot win this fight." The insect alien clicked its mandibles together. "Our governments have voted. We advise Earth to accept the Empire's terms. Surrender your ships and save your people." Collins felt anger rise in his chest. These aliens had been Earth's friends for 50 years. Now they wanted humans to give up without a fight. "What about the Coalition Treaty?" Collins asked. "We agreed to help each other." The furry alien shook its head sadly. "The Empire is too strong. If we fight beside you, they will destroy our worlds too. We cannot risk billions of lives for one planet." Collins stared at them for a long moment. "I understand your position. Thank you for telling me directly." After the aliens left, Collins turned to Captain Morgan. "Any word from command?" "Yes, sir. Coded message arrived 10 minutes ago." "Okay. It just says activate Protocol 7 and has your personal authorization code." Collins felt his heart skip a beat. Protocol 7 was something he had hoped never to use. He had been waiting 30 years for this message. "Captain Morgan, I need you to contact Commander Ryan Bell immediately. Tell him it's time." "Time for what, sir?" "You'll find out soon enough." "Also, get me General Amy Foster on a secure channel. We have work to do." As Captain Morgan hurried away, Collins looked out the window again. The distance, he could see one of Earth's defense platforms. It looked small and weak compared to what was coming. But looks could be very deceiving. 3 days later, the Zorvak Empire fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Zektar commanded the massive force from his flagship. The reptilian warrior had conquered 12 planets in the past year. Earth would be lucky number 13. "Report," Zektar hissed to his bridge crew. "Admiral, we detect 30 human ships near Earth. They are old designs, mostly cargo vessels with weapons attached. Their largest ship is smaller than our destroyers." Zektar laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. "These mammals think they can fight us with mining ships. How amusing." "Sir, we are receiving a message from the human Admiral Collins." "Put it on." Screen. Collins appeared on the main viewer. He looked calm and confident. "Admiral Zektar, I presume." "I am Admiral Jake Collins of the Earth Defense Force. Human, you have 1 chance to surrender. Give us your ships and weapons, and we will. Let your people live as slaves. Fuse, and we will turn your planet into ash." Collins smiled slightly. "I appreciate the offer, Admiral, but I'm afraid I must decline." Zektar's eyes widened in surprise. "You choose death over surrender? Your species is even more foolish than we thought. Perhaps. But humans have a saying, never judge a book by its cover." The communication ended. Zektar turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy their lead ship. Show them what real power looks like." The Empire flagship fired its main cannon. Beam of pure energy shot across space toward Earth's largest defender. But the beam hit an invisible barrier and scattered harmlessly. "What happened?" Zektar roared. "Unknown, sir. Their shields absorbed our best weapon. Impossible. Scan those ships again." As the Zorvak sensors swept the human fleet, something strange began to happen. Warning lights flashed on the Empire bridge. "Admiral, We're detecting massive energy. Signatures throughout the solar system. From where? Everywhere, sir. The asteroid belt, the moons, even some of the asteroids themselves. Captain Lisa Morgan stood beside Admiral Collins on Earth's flagship. Sir, all hidden stations are powering up. The Leviathan reports ready for deployment. Collins nodded. Send the signal to Commander Bell. Let's show our guests what Earth has really been building for the past 30 years. In the asteroid belt, what looked like a large mining station began to change. Metal panels slid apart, revealing massive weapon arrays. Similar transformations happened throughout the solar system. Asteroids split open like flowers, showing gleaming metal interiors. Space stations that had looked like simple research outposts suddenly bristled with guns and missile launchers. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. The largest asteroid in the belt, almost 3 kilometers wide, began to unfold. Layer after layer of rock and metal peeled away like the petals of a giant flower. Inside was something that made even Admiral Collins hold his breath in wonder. The UES, Leviathan, was beautiful and terrible at the same time, 3 times larger than any ship the galaxy had ever seen. It gleamed with new armor and weapons. Thousands of fighter craft swarmed around it like angry bees. Admiral Zektar stared at his screens in shock. What? What is that thing? His sensor officer's voice shook with fear. Sir, it's bigger than our entire fleet combined. Collins opened communication channels to the Empire fleet. Admiral Zektar, allow me to properly introduce myself. I am Admiral Jake Collins, Supreme Commander of Earth's Hidden Fleet. Welcome to our solar system. I hope you enjoy your stay. Commander Ryan Bell stepped onto the bridge of the UES Leviathan for the first time in daylight. For 30 years, he had worked in secret, building this massive ship inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Now, the rock shell was gone, and his creation floated free in space. All systems green, Commander, reported Dr. Kevin Hayes from his engineering station. The scientist had spent half his life designing the Leviathan's advanced systems. Fusion reactors at full power. All weapon arrays online. Bell nodded and activated the ship's communication system. Admiral Collins, this is Commander Bell. The Leviathan is ready for combat operations. Collins' voice came through clearly. Outstanding work, Ryan. 30 years of preparation comes down to this moment. On the Empire flagship, Admiral Zektar was trying to understand what he was seeing. How big is that ship? He demanded. Nearly 4 kilometers long, sir. Our largest battleship could fit inside its landing bay. Zektar's claws scraped against his command chair. Impossible. No species has the technology to build something that large. Sir, we're detecting more ships. Emerging from hidden positions, dozens of them. All around the solar system, Earth's true fleet was revealing itself. Warships that had been disguised as cargo haulers dropped their fake outer hulls. Battle cruisers emerged from behind moons where they had waited for years. Fighter squadrons, launched from bases built inside asteroids. Captain Alina Torres commanded one of Earth's decoy ships. Her vessel had looked like an old cargo freighter, but now its real weapons were visible. All ships, this is Torres. Drop the disguises and prepare for combat. Across the human fleet, captains were giving similar orders. In minutes, what had looked like 30 weak ships became 200 modern warships. But the real surprise was still coming. Lieutenant Sam Parker sat in the cockpit of his fighter, waiting inside the Leviathan's massive hangar bay. Around him, 499 other pilots were doing the same. These were not ordinary fighter craft. Each ship was equipped with technology that made them faster and deadlier than anything the galaxy had seen. Phoenix Squadron, this is Control, came the voice in Parker's helmet. You are cleared for launch. Show them what human pilots can do. Parker grinned and fired his engines. His fighter shot out of the Leviathan like a bullet from a gun. All around him, other fighters were doing the same. In seconds, 500 human fighters filled the space between the two fleets. Admiral Zektar watched the swarm of small ships approaching. Launch our fighters. Crush these insects. The Empire launched 800 fighters to meet the human attack. Zorvac. Pilots were confident. It destroyed the fighters of dozens of other species. These humans would be no different. They were very wrong. The first human fighter that met the enemy moved like nothing the Zorvac had ever seen. It twisted through space in impossible directions, firing with deadly accuracy. In seconds, 3 Empire fighters were destroyed. Parker's fighter danced between enemy shots like it was performing ballet. His neural interface connected his thoughts directly to his ship's controls. When he thought about turning left, the ship turned instantly. When he wanted to fire, the weapons responded as fast as his reflexes. "This is incredible," Parker said over the radio. "It's like the ship is part of my body." All around the battlefield, human fighters were overwhelming their enemies. The Zorvac pilots had learned to fly on worlds with flat surfaces and simple gravity, but humans had evolved flying through Earth's complex atmosphere, dodging mountains and storms. In three-dimensional space combat, this gave them a huge advantage. Dr. Rachel Green watched the battle from the Leviathan's science station. She had helped design the neural interfaces that made the human fighters so effective. "Commander Bell, our pilots are performing better than our best simulations predicted." Bell smiled. "Humans have always been adaptable. Give us the right tools, and we'll surprise everyone." On the Empire flagship, panic was spreading. "Admiral, we've lost 200 fighters in the first 5 minutes. The humans are destroying us." Zektar could not believe what he was seeing. "How are they moving like that? It's impossible." His tactical officer studied the sensor readings. "Sir, their reaction times are 3 times faster than ours, and their ships seem to respond to their thoughts." "Thoughts? What are you talking about?" "I don't know, sir, but they're flying like the ships are extensions of their own bodies." Lieutenant Jake Martinez was monitoring Empire communications from Earth's command center. "Admiral Collins, I'm intercepting their battle reports. They're completely confused by our tactics." Collins allowed himself a small smile. "Good. Fear and confusion are our best weapons right now." The space battle continued for an hour. When it ended, the Empire had lost 600 fighters, while the humans had lost only 12. The survivors of the Empire squadron fled back to their main fleet. Admiral Zektar stared at the tactical display. His advance force was crippled. "Send a message to Imperial Command. Tell them we need reinforcements immediately." "How many ships should we request, sir?" Zektar looked at the massive human supercarrier and the swarm of deadly fighters surrounding it. "All of them. Send every ship in the Empire." Back on the Leviathan, Commander Bell was receiving reports from his department heads. "Sir, all systems performed perfectly. No significant damage to report." Dr. Hayes was practically bouncing with excitement. The new shield generators worked exactly as designed. The Empire's weapons barely scratched our armor. Bell opened a channel to Admiral Collins. "Admiral, Phase 1 is complete. The Empire knows they're in a real fight now." Collins' voice carried satisfaction and determination. "Excellent work, everyone. But this is just the beginning. Intelligence reports that the Empire's main fleet has over 2,000 ships. They'll be here within a week." Captain Lisa Morgan spoke up from the command center. "Are we really ready to face that many enemies?" Collins looked out at the Leviathan and the reformed human fleet. "Captain, for 30 years we've been preparing for this moment. We've built ships they can't imagine and developed tactics they've never seen. The Empire thinks they know everything about human capabilities." He paused and smiled grimly. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." Throughout the solar system, human crews were celebrating their first victory. But they all knew this was just the opening move in a much larger game. The real test would come when the Empire's full might arrived at Earth's doorstep, in the depths of space. Automated communication buoys were already carrying news of the battle to every corner of the galaxy. For the first time in decades, the mighty Zorvac Empire had been defeated. Other species began to wonder if the humans could do this. What else might be possible? News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Coalition worlds, people gathered around communication screens in amazement. The humans had actually defeated the mighty Zorvac Empire in battle, Captain. Alex Stone stood in the briefing room of his stealth fighter squadron. Around him sat 20 of Earth's best pilots, each one carefully chosen for this special mission. Stone himself had been flying combat missions for 15 years. but nothing like what they were about to attempt. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new mission," Stone announced. "Intelligence has located the Empire's main supply convoy. 40 cargo ships carrying fuel and ammunition for their battle fleet." Lieutenant Sarah Clark raised her hand. "Sir, 40 ships means they'll have at least 20 escorts. That's a lot of firepower for one squadron," Stone smiled. "That's where our new toys come in. Dr. Hayes has installed prototype cloaking devices on our fighters. The Empire won't see us coming until it's too late." The cloaking technology was another human innovation. While other species had tried to make ships invisible for years, humans had approached the problem differently. Instead of bending light around their ships, they had learned to make their fighters blend into the background of space itself. Meanwhile, Major Kate Wilson was preparing for an even more dangerous mission. Her Special Forces team was going to board an Empire command ship and capture their admiral alive. "Remember, we need him talking," Wilson told her 12-person team. "The Empire's battle plans are in his head, and we need that information." Mike Davis checked his assault rifle one more time. "Major, these Zorvak are twice our size and have natural armor. Are we sure we can take them in close combat?" Wilson held up a small device that looked like a simple metal cylinder. "That's what these are for. Sonic disruptors designed specifically for Zorvak physiology. Dr. Rachel Green spent 2 years studying their biology to create these weapons." Dr. Green had, indeed, spent years learning about alien species. Her research into Zorvak weaknesses had been disguised as simple scientific curiosity. No one in the Empire suspected that Earth's scientists were developing weapons based on their studies. 2 days later, Captain Stone's squadron approached the Empire's supply convoy. Their cloaked fighters were completely invisible to enemy sensors. Stone could see the massive cargo ships through his cockpit window, but his instruments showed empty space. "Ghost leader to all units," Stone whispered into his radio. "Remember, hit the fuel ships first. Without fuel, their battle fleet can't reach Earth." The attack began without warning. Suddenly, Empire cargo ships started exploding as invisible attackers struck from all directions. The escort ships fired wildly into empty space, trying to hit enemies they could not see. In 10 minutes, it was over. 38 of the 40 cargo ships were destroyed. 2 survivors fled toward Empire space, carrying news of another impossible human victory. At the same time, Major Wilson's team was boarding the Empire command ship Destroyer of Worlds. They had approached in a small stealth craft that looked like space debris. Once inside the enemy ship, they moved like shadows through the corridors. The sonic disruptors worked perfectly. Zorvak soldiers collapsed instantly when hit by the weapon's focused sound waves. Their tough armor and strong muscles were useless against technology designed to attack their inner ears and nervous system. Wilson's team found Admiral Krath in his private quarters, reviewing battle reports. The reptilian commander was so focused on his work that he never heard them coming. "Admiral Krath," Wilson said calmly, pointing her weapon at his head. "You're coming with us." Krath reached for his sidearm, but the sonic disruptor hit him before he could draw it. The massive alien collapsed like a falling tree. "Bring him. Let's go home." Back on Earth, Lieutenant Jake Martinez was having the time of his life. For years, he had been secretly monitoring Empire communications through hidden deep space relay stations. Now he was using that information to help plan Earth's strategy. "Admiral Collins, we've intercepted the Empire's response to the supply convoy attack," Martinez reported. "They're pulling ships from 3 different sectors to reinforce their main fleet." Collins studied the tactical display. "How many ships total?" 2,000, sir. But here's the interesting part. Our attacks have forced them to spread out their formations. They're scared of more surprise attacks." Dr. Green entered the command center with Major Wilson and their prisoner. Admiral Krath was conscious, but secured with restraints designed for his species. "Admiral Collins, our guest, has been very helpful," Dr. Green announced. "The Empire's battle plan assumes we only have the ships they saw in the first battle. They have no idea about our deep space assets." Collins raised an eyebrow. "Deep space assets." Commander Bell's voice came over the intercom. "Admiral, I think it's time to tell you about the rest of Project Titan." Collins had thought the Leviathan was the project's greatest achievement. Was wrong. Sir, Bell continued, for the past 15 years we've been building ships in secret locations throughout human space, not just in this solar system. We have hidden bases in 47 different star systems. The command center fell silent. Even Collins was speechless. Each base has been building ships and training crews, Bell explained. When the Empire's main fleet arrives, they'll be expecting to fight one solar system. Instead, they'll face the entire hidden strength of humanity. Captain Morgan finally found her voice. Commander, how many ships are we talking about? 1,500 combat vessels, Admiral. All equipped with our latest technology. All crewed by humans who have been training for this war their entire lives. Admiral Krath, listening to this conversation, began to understand the true scope of what his empire faced. These humans had not just built a few secret ships. They had created an entire hidden civilization dedicated to warfare. On worlds throughout Empire space, other species were beginning to rebel. News of human victories had given them hope for the first time in decades. If the mighty Empire could be defeated by these newcomers, perhaps freedom was possible after all. The Zorvak homeworld received increasingly desperate reports from their military commanders. Their supply lines were under constant attack by invisible human raiders. Their communications were being intercepted and decoded. Worst of all, species they had conquered for centuries were rising up against them. Emperor Zorvak himself finally spoke to his military council. These humans are not like the other species we have conquered. They think differently. They plan differently. How did we not see this coming? His intelligence chief, a scarred veteran of many campaigns, gave the answer that chilled every Zorvak. In the room, Your Majesty, I believe we have been watching them for 50 years, but they have been watching us much longer. Back on Earth, Admiral Collins stood before the largest gathering of human military officers in history. Representatives from every hidden base and secret facility had come to receive their final orders. The Empire's main fleet will arrive in 3 days, Collins announced. For 30 years, we have prepared for this moment. We have built ships they cannot imagine and developed tactics they have never seen. But most importantly, we have something they will never understand. He paused and looked around the room at faces filled with determination. We are fighting for our home. They are fighting for conquest. That makes all the difference. In space. Around Earth, the Leviathan and the rest of the human fleet prepared for the largest battle in galactic history. But now, they were not alone. Throughout human space, hidden fleets were moving toward Earth, ready to spring the greatest trap ever conceived. The Empire thought they were coming to crush one small planet. They were about to discover they had walked into a war with an entire species that had been preparing for this fight longer than anyone realized. The Empire's main fleet arrived at Earth's solar system like a storm of metal and death. 2,000 warships moved in perfect formation, their hulls dark against the stars. Emperor Zorvak himself commanded the fleet from his massive flagship, the Eternal Destroyer. Admiral Collins watched the approaching enemy from the Leviathan's bridge. It's impressive, he admitted to Captain Morgan. I've never seen so many ships in one place. Morgan checked her tactical display. Sir, they outnumber our visible fleet 6-1. Are you sure the hidden fleets will arrive in time? Collins smiled calmly. They're already here, Lisa. They've been waiting for 3 days. Throughout the solar system, human ships that had been disguised as asteroids, space stations, and even comets were powering up their weapons. The Empire thought they were facing 300 human ships. They were actually surrounded by over 1,800. Dr. Kevin Hayes was making final adjustments to the Leviathan's most secret weapon. For 30 years, he had worked on this project in the deepest levels of the great ship. It was time to test his creation in real combat. Admiral Collins, Hayes called from his engineering station. The quantum disruption cannon is ready for testing. Collins had heard rumors about this weapon, but he had never seen it. It tears holes in space itself, sir. Any ship caught in the beam simply ceases to exist. The Empire flagship, Emperor Zorvak, studied the tactical display with growing anger. How many human ships do we face? Approximately 300, Your Majesty. Our intelligence was correct. Zorvak's tail lashed with frustration. Then why do I feel like we're walking into a trap? His question was answered moments later when human ships began appearing everywhere. What had looked like empty space suddenly filled with warships. Asteroids split apart to reveal hidden battle stations. Even some of the planet's moons opened up, showing massive gun installations inside. Possible, Zorvak hissed. Where did they all come from? His tactical officer's voice shook with fear. Your Majesty, we count over 1,800 human vessels. We're completely surrounded. The Battle of Seoul began with a surprise that shocked both fleets. The Leviathan suddenly split apart into 5 separate sections, each one a powerful warship. What had been one massive target became 5 smaller, faster ships that could attack from different directions. Commander Bell directed the transformation from the command section. All segments report ready for independent operations, he announced. Let's show them what modular warfare looks like. Captain Lisa Morgan now commanded her own section of the great ship. The weapons array she controlled was larger than most battleships. Target the Empire flagship, she ordered. Let's introduce their Emperor to human hospitality.
8.
But the Empire's greatest shock came when Captain Stone's stealth fighters began their attack. Hundreds of cloaked ships appeared inside the Empire formation, firing from point-blank range. Enemy ships exploded without warning as invisible attackers struck their weakest points. How are they inside our formation? Zorvak demanded. Our sensors show nothing. Unknown, Your Majesty. You appear to be using some form of advanced stealth technology. Stone's fighter danced between Empire ships like a ghost. His neural interface allowed him to react faster than any organic pilot should be able to. When an enemy gunner tried to track him, Stone was already somewhere else. Phoenix leader to all units, Stone called over the radio. Focus on their command ships. Cut off their communications. The human pilots had trained for this moment their entire lives. Each one flew with the skill of a master and the precision of a machine. The Empire's pilots, despite their experience, had never faced anything like this coordinated assault. Meanwhile, Actor Rachel Green was coordinating a different kind of attack. Throughout the galaxy, human agents who had been hiding for decades suddenly revealed themselves. On Empire worlds, secret communication networks activated, spreading messages of rebellion to conquered species. Admiral Collins, Green reported. From her station, her deep cover agents are reporting success. 12 Empire worlds have declared independence in the last hour. Collins nodded grimly. The Empire's strength has always been fear. Show people they can be beaten, and that fear disappears. The space battle raged for 6 hours. Human tactics that the Empire had never seen proved devastatingly effective. Ships that could split into multiple vessels, confused enemy targeting systems. Fighters that appeared and disappeared at will destroyed larger ships from within their own formations. But the Empire's greatest shock came when Dr. Hayes finally fired his quantum disruption cannon. The beam reached out from the Leviathan's main section and touched an Empire battle cruiser. The massive ship simply vanished, leaving not even debris behind. What was that? Emperor Zorvak screamed at his science officer. Unknown, Your Majesty. The ship appears to have been completely destroyed at the atomic level. The psychological effect was immediate. Empire crews began to panic when they saw their most powerful ships disappearing without a trace. Some ships tried to retreat, only to find human vessels blocking every escape route. Captain Alina Torres led a squadron of human cruisers in a flanking attack on the Empire's left wing. Her ships moved in perfect coordination, their fire concentrated on single targets. One by one, Empire ships fell to the precisely coordinated assault. Torres 2 Fleet Command, she reported. Left flank is collapsing. Empire ships are trying to retreat? Negative, Collins responded. Let none escape. The galaxy needs to know that the Empire can be completely defeated. As the battle continued, more Empire ships tried to surrender. But the human fleet was under orders to accept no surrender. This was not just a military victory they were seeking, but the complete destruction of the Empire's ability to wage war. Lieutenant, Sam Parker's fighter squadron was hunting the Empire's remaining carriers. These massive ships held hundreds of enemy fighters, and they had to be destroyed before they could launch their full strength. "Target their hangar bays," Parker ordered. His pilots. "One good shot will cause a chain reaction." Parker's fighter slipped through the Empire's defensive fire like it was dancing. His neural interface made the ship respond to his thoughts faster than any conventional control system. He fired a single torpedo into an enemy carrier's hangar. Bayan watched as internal explosions tore the ship apart. By the end of the battle, the Empire had lost 1,600 ships. Only 400 managed to escape, and most of those were damaged. The human fleet had lost fewer than 100 vessels. Emperor Zorvac found himself trapped on his damaged flagship, surrounded by human ships. For the first time in his life, the ruler of a galactic empire felt genuine fear. "Your Majesty," his communications officer reported, "the humans are demanding your surrender." Admiral Collins' voice came over the Empire flagship speakers. "Emperor Zorvac, your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is in rebellion. Surrender now, and your crew will be treated according to galactic law." Zorvac looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or wounded. His ship's weapons were offline, and his engines were failing. He had no choice. "I surrender," the Emperor said quietly. Throughout the galaxy, the news spread faster than the speed of light. The Zorvac Empire, which had ruled through fear for over a century, had been completely defeated by the humans. Species that had been enslaved for generations began to throw off their chains. On Earth, celebrations began in every city. But Admiral Collins knew this was only the beginning. Defeating the Empire was one thing. Building a better galaxy would be much harder. As he watched the last Empire ship surrender, Collins opened a communication channel to all human forces. "Congratulations on a job well done, but remember, we didn't fight this war for conquest. We fought it for freedom, and we have to prove we deserve the victory we've won." 5 years had passed since the Battle of Sol. The galaxy was a very different place now. The Zorvac Empire once ruled through fear. The new Galactic Coalition governed through cooperation and respect. President Maria Santos stood at the podium in the Great Assembly Hall on the Coalition capital world. Representatives from over 200 species filled the seats before her. Many of them had been slaves under the Empire just a few years ago. "Friends and allies," Santos began, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "Today we celebrate not just our victory over tyranny, but our success in building something better." In the audience, Admiral Jake Collins wore the uniform of Supreme Commander of Coalition Defense Forces. The title still felt strange to him. He had spent his whole career defending one world. Now he was responsible for protecting hundreds, Captain. Lisa Morgan sat beside him, now wearing the rank insignia of a full admiral. She commanded the Coalition's new rapid response fleet, ready to help any world that faced invasion or natural disaster. "Admiral Collins," Morgan whispered, "do you ever miss the old days when Earth was just one small planet that nobody noticed?" Collins smiled slightly. "Sometimes life was simpler when we only had to worry about our own solar system." The ceremony continued as President Santos announced the Coalition's latest achievements. Former Empire worlds were now prosperous democracies. Trade routes that had been controlled by Zorvac warlords were now open to all species. Scientific knowledge was being shared freely across the galaxy. Dr. Kevin Hayes was particularly proud of this last point. His engineering teams had spent 5 years teaching other species how to build and maintain advanced technology. The quantum disruption cannon that had ended the war was now being used for peaceful purposes, clearing asteroid fields and creating new shipping lanes. "The most important thing we've learned," Dr. Hayes often told his students, "is that technology means nothing without wisdom to use it properly." Commander Ryan Bell, now Director of Coalition Shipbuilding, oversaw the construction of new vessels for dozens of species. The shipyards that had once built weapons of war now created ships of exploration and commerce. "Every ship we build now," Bell explained to a group of young engineers, "is designed to bring species together, not tear them apart." But not everything in the galaxy was peaceful. Captain Elena Torres commanded the Coalition's frontier patrol. hunting down the last Empire holdouts who still tried to raid peaceful worlds, Admiral Collins Torres reported during their weekly briefing. We've eliminated another pirate base in the Outer Rim. The local species are requesting permanent protection. Collins studied the star map on his screen. Red markers showed where. Empire remnants still cause trouble. There were fewer each month, but they remained dangerous. Approved, Captain. Set up a patrol station in that sector. The truth was that not all former Empire species had accepted the new order. Some Zorvak commanders had fled to distant star systems, where they tried to rebuild their power through raiding and conquest. Others had joined criminal organizations, selling their military knowledge to the highest bidder. Dr. Rachel Green, now head of the Coalition's Xenological Research Division, spent her time studying these holdout groups. Her work helped the Coalition understand which former Empire species could be trusted and which needed watching. The key, Green explained to her research team, is understanding that not everyone wants freedom. Some species prefer being told what to do. Our job is to protect them from those who would exploit that preference. Lieutenant Sam Parker, now a full colonel, commanded the Coalition's elite pilot training program. Young pilots from dozens of species came to learn human combat techniques. Not everyone could master the neural interface technology, but all of them learned the importance of three-dimensional thinking in space combat. Remember, Parker told his latest class of students, "You're not just learning to fly, you're learning to think like a human pilot." That means expecting the unexpected and always having a backup plan. The neural interface technology remained mostly a human advantage. Other species could use it, but none were as naturally compatible as humans. This made human pilots valuable throughout the Coalition, serving as instructors in elite squadron. Leaders Major Kate Wilson had retired from military service and now ran a private security company. Her team specialized in protecting important Coalition officials and investigating threats from Empire remnants. "The war may be over," Wilson often said, "but the peace requires constant vigilance." One day, Admiral Collins received a priority: communication that changed everything. Lieutenant Jake Martinez, now head of Coalition Deep Space Monitoring, had detected something that made his blood run cold. "Admiral, you need to see this immediately," Martinez said, his face pale on the communication screen. Collins hurried to the monitoring station, where Martinez was studying readings from the galaxy's edge. The displays showed massive energy signatures moving through the empty space between galaxies. "What are we looking at, Jake?" "Ships, sir. Bigger than anything we've ever seen. They're coming from outside our galaxy entirely." The readings were clear but terrifying. Hundreds of vessels, each one larger than the Leviathan, were approaching from the void between star systems. They moved with purpose and coordination that suggested advanced intelligence. Collins felt his stomach drop. "How long until they reach Coalition space?" "At their current speed, 18 months, sir." Collins immediately called an emergency session of the Coalition Council. Representatives from every member species gathered in the Great Hall, their faces showing confusion and growing fear as Collins explained the situation. "We face a threat unlike anything we've encountered before," Collins announced. "These ships come from beyond our galaxy. We don't know who they are or what they want, but their approach suggests hostile intent." President Santos stood to address the assembly. "The Coalition has faced extinction before and survived. We defeated an empire that ruled through fear and built something better in its place. Whatever comes from the void, we will face it together." Next 18 months would test everything the Coalition had built. Shipyards that had been producing peaceful vessels switched back to military production. The hidden bases and secret facilities that had defeated the Empire were reactivated and upgraded. But this time, humanity would not face the threat alone. Every species in the Coalition contributed their knowledge and resources. The blue-skinned aliens, who had once advised Earth to surrender, now worked alongside human engineers to build new defenses. The insect-like species that had feared the Empire's power now trained their warriors. Alongside human soldiers, Admiral Collins stood once again on the bridge of the rebuilt Leviathan, watching as the greatest fleet in galactic history assembled. Around Earth, Ships from 200 different species formed a wall of metal and determination between the unknown threat and the worlds they had sworn to protect. Admiral Captain Morgan reported from her flagship, "All fleets are in position. Coalition forces number over 5,000 ships." Collins nodded, remembering another day when he had faced impossible odds with only Earth's hidden strength to rely on. Now he commanded the combined might of an entire galaxy. "Whatever's coming," he said quietly, "they're about to learn that this galaxy is under new management." In the distance, space itself began to ripple as the first of the alien ships emerged. From the void between galaxies, the next chapter of galactic history was about to begin, and humanity would help write it.